I hope you've enjoyed the presentation.
Yes, it was great.
Really? It's a good show.
Was there ever any plans on bringing in Terry, his own Robin, or was it just...
Yeah, Max.
Max?
Max was going to be Robin. And the writers just hated her. All of us just hated her because it was forced on us. Oh, there's got to be a girl in the show, and let the girl know his identity. And no, please don't. But they felt that was a sop to widening the TV viewing audience.
You make a joke about that, I think. She says, "Don't call me Robin," and he calls her.
I know. It just.
No, that's right. Yeah.
She gets really slapped around in an episode I wrote called "Where's Terry," where Bruce is just like, "Get away from me."
Is that where Bruce tricks her into getting arrested by the cops in the subway?
Yeah, he just tosses her away.
Mr. Berkowitz,
yes.
You wrote the episode Shriek, which pretty much introduced Shriek as one of Terry's perennial archenemies.
Correct.
Tell me a little more about what went into that episode.
Well, initially Shriek was created by Glenn. Essentially, he drew a picture of what Shriek would look like, and it was just tossed on the writer's desk, and they said, here's a guy who does something involving sound. And that was that. And then we had to figure out what his background is, what he was trying to do. Now I have a difficult question for you. I just went through this at the other table. Do you want me to do it again, or because it's?
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, you guys are competing with them, right?
We are, so give it to us.
You actually plan on killing them after this is all done, so we can have.
Yeah, there's a battle royale.
But is it bad or good to do the same thing again, or do you?
Honestly, it's better to have new stuff. So whatever you want to do.
Whatever, yeah.
Well, you asked about Shriek. I loved writing for Shriek. The two good anecdotes I just blew them on the other table though.
Our Wi-Fi connection's faster, so we'll break the story first.
I don't know if it's breaking. It's certainly not breaking news. But one of the things, the bit where it goes silent in the first Shriek thing, where they're fighting and it just goes dead like that, I thought, you know what, the animators I work with are really good, and they can far outdo anything I as a writer can imagine. But what can they do about sound? Because we hadn't really experimented with that very much. And when it just goes dead like that, you think there's something wrong with your TV. And I loved the way it worked out. And by the way, that is accurate scientifically. Most of the stuff we do is at best pseudoscience and at worst BS. But that's true. It's sound comes in waves, and the sound suppression systems that you can create, and they exist now. Sound suppression. The system listens to the wave and then instantly creates a counter wave to it. So you know about that. And so we use that, and this is 20 years ago. Now, sound suppression is not standard, but it's found in many automobiles and also in very loud work environments, like down at the pier and the loading docks and stuff like that. So we did that. Babel with Shriek was one of my favorites. Because I'll bet you didn't know, though, that in the first draft of that script, where, again, we're suggesting that he uses sound waves to distort voices so that it becomes like the old Tower of Babel thing. In the original script, I simply wrote, for the gibberish dialogue, actor says gibberish. Period. See, I just figured the actor would go in the recording and go like that. No. Andrea, our director over there, she looks at the script, she says, Stan, you got to rewrite this. You have to rewrite the gibberish. You have to rewrite every word of gibberish. And I said, well, being a TV writer, I'm very good at writing gibberish. And we did. I mean, there's I remember one particular line, he's found a way to adjust the Klimas Bay Korhama. So I'm writing all that stuff down. I give it, okay, now Andrea, are you happy? I've written every syllable of gibberish that you asked for. And she goes, Stan, there's still a problem. You have to translate it now. Because the actors need to know with what emotion they're going to be saying the gibberish. So go back translate the gibberish for to make sense of it for the actors.
So if Batman Beyond was made today again, if you wanted to go back to it, do you think there would be any revamps? Do you think the show means something in 2019, something different than back then?
I don't know. I mean, we'd have to take a different look at the future. As Bruce pointed out, the cell phones we had are enormous. We didn't figure out that they'd be a lot smaller. So we'd have to jump forward. I mean, were you guys reading the news today with Elon Musk's new company, where they're inserting electrodes in your brain? None of you heard of this?
We all saw Batman Forever. We know that's nothing good's going to come of that.
Talking about the hearing aids.
No, it's
It's an AI.
Digital implant.
they're little wires that would go into your head to help you communicate with your computers.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
So you wrote the Batman, Superman, Batman Beyond, and Justice League. In terms of like difficulty, because James Taylor was talking about how Batman Beyond was very original. Was Batman Beyond the most difficult one, and what was the most rewarding part? It wasn't the most difficult part.
No, Batman Beyond was not the most difficult part. The biggest difficulty I had, and it's a trivial one, was that Alan and Paul wrote the outline for the pilot, and then Alan and Paul went back and wrote the script for part 1 of the pilot,
Right.
and they handed off the outline for part 2 so that I would do the script. And in part 2, you first see Terry in the Batman costume, and suddenly the question becomes, what do we call him? Do we call him Batman Beyond? Do we call him the other Bat? What do we call him?
You never called him Batman in the show, right?
We did. In that very first episode that I wrote, which had been part 2 of the pilot, he shows up at some plan, and there's a security guard, and the security guard says something like, "Hey, there's some clown here who thinks he's Batman," and Terry takes a line from the Michael Keaton Batman movie and says, "No, I am Batman." So it was a play on that, and from then on, we were calling him Batman. The show was a model of sanity. I mean, I'm sure you've read about other shows where, we had to fire the lead actor because he was no good. We dumped the whole writing staff, all those horror stories. Nothing like that happened on this show. It just went like, I mean, you heard Bruce earlier today saying, yeah, they wanted a teenage Batman, and that created some problems for us. But as soon as they said, well, what if we went in this direction? Everyone said, yeah, fine. And it just went very, very smoothly beyond that, to my knowledge. As a writer, I mean, as writers, we're sort of early on in the pipeline.
Wrap it up, mister.
It's all your
That was
fault.
the last question.
Thank you.
Thank you very
I
much.
gotta take Stan